Sell out with me tonight. The CG company's gonna give me lots of money and everything's gonna be alright. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Xaereth Prevails. Man, I wish I could sell out. That would be nice. CG company's gonna give me lots of money, I'm sure, guys. I wish one day. Anyways, we've got new information lately, guys. It's a big news week, and I wanted to give you guys the scoop on what to farm next, because we got new stuff to plan and discuss. First, I want to give a huge shout out to my patrons. You guys are amazing. Thank you guys so much. I think there's one person missing on here, in fact, and so I'll add you soon. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, everyone, for all of your support. I truly appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And just a reminder, folks, that if you want to support the channel for free, all you've got to do is hit the like button, the mic button, like and subscribe, mount the algorithm, guys. It's not regulated yet, mounting, so let's get in on it while the getting's good. Let's jump into our goals here. So I always go over first off, what new factors? Why should I make this video again? Because I've been making videos like this lately, every month or two, just to keep everyone in the loop. And like, why should I keep telling people like, hey, what's new? I mean, there's a lot though. Galactic Legend Leia is here, and we know if she's good or not. Leviathan got buffed again, which is worth a look at. Trooper Gideon kit is here from Conquest, and we have a rework on Imperial Super Commando, and right now he is ridiculously strong. He's going to be it's probably the strongest rework we've ever seen, and probably is overpowered to the point that it's going to get nerfed, but we're going to talk about that. What's our main goal, however, guys? And the goal is always the same. We want to get as much stuff as we can, and not just useless stuff. We want to get pertinent, relevant, important gear and currencies that'll change over time what exactly our goals are, but for the most part, we know what it's going to look like. We also want to stay relevant, because if we're not relevant, if we have old characters and none of the new, we're going to be less capable of farming this new stuff, this extra stuff. We want, CG wants us to spend money, obviously, but even if we're not going to spend money, they're going to incentivize us to work on the newer stuff to some degree. Not all of it is absolutely necessary, and some of it can wait, which we'll talk about here. And then, of course, we want to be efficient with our resources and not have to farm characters that are kind of worthless or are, about to fade into obscurity. So what gets us most of this stuff? And I need to edit this just a little bit. This is essentially what I had from the last video talking about this, and so PvE is generally going to be more rewarded. I called it all essential game modes. Fleet Arena, the current raid, which means right now it's the crate raid, but in a month or two, it's going to be the Endor speeder raid, whatever they end up calling it. Territory battles, of course, are important. Conquest are important. And then what I've called the hobby game modes, because your rewards are fairly static. I know that some guilds are going to earn more in territory wars, some guilds are going to earn about the same as I do, maybe a little less. And then in GAC, of course, you can, if you're an overachiever, make more crystals and stuff. Though, even once you get to a certain point, you're going to have to tread water for a good long while. So, in a lot of ways, GAC and territory wars are a little bit on the back burner, though to me they're the more enjoyable ones, so they're probably going to get a little more priority. And the good news is there's a lot of overlap in this game, where if you're working on something that's really good, like Jedi Cal, for instance, for Rise of the Empire territory battle, you're also going to have a lot of impact in GAC, in territory wars, and even in Conquest, etc. They all kind of overlap. Like, getting the new stuff tends to be helpful everywhere, and then has diminishing returns as their release gets further and further behind. So PvE, instead of, I changed this to, instead of PvE is king, I changed it to reliable, because Right now, PvE is what gets us the most stuff, and it's the most stable. Like, PvP changes all the time. New Datacron set, new overpowered character. Galactic Legend Leia is here. How is she going to impact things? Jabba was here before that. How does he impact things? What does Afra do? What does Starkiller do? All these different releases. It's always so up in the air. This Datacron set's gone. New one's in. New territory war. Omicrons from Moff Gideon. We can just keep going in the crazy loop, but the fact is, PvE is old reliable. You can always count on it. Like, Rise of the Empire isn't going to change. If you can always beat the first tiers and the second tier and all of that, that's not going to change. Your roster can already do that. And so, the only, of course, fluctuation is when they swap that out, but that's not going to happen for years still for Rise of the Empire. And Conquest, so we want to make sure that Conquest is, we're Conquest ready. And then, of course, Fleet is probably the most important, guys. Staying on top of that. And that is PvP a little bit. So you need to stay on top of that and get those crystals. The crystals are the most important. And that income, 400 crystals a day, is a crazy impact. If you can earn that every day, you're going to set yourself up for a lot of success. So it's reliable. GAC, it's like, well, it's reliable for the most part, but if you get this new shiny, if I go and unlock Leia right now, am I going to get more crystals in GAC? Maybe short term, I'll win a few, and then I'll plateau again, which is why PvE is the reliable one. Now, in Fleet Arena, the new change, and I'm not trying to associate any kind of value statement to this in terms of, I think that CJ should go to hell for buffing Leviathan, or I think that they're so great for doing it. What I am going to say is, right now, they buffed it to the point where profundity is not at all consistent to beating Leviathan. Maybe consistent over the course of a huge sample size. It's consistent in the sense that you can consistently win 60 to 70% of the fights. Sure, it's tough though, guys, and it's not even if you make all the right moves, you're not necessarily always going to beat Leviathan. And so, what should we do to mitigate this? First off, is 7-star Leviathan. All the lower stars, pretty easy to take out. So prioritizing 7-star is going to get you the biggest bang for the buck. I know it costs crystals. It's not fun. I'm not looking forward to it on my alternate account, but I think it's necessary to make sure that you're 7-star right now. Whether or not that's fair, whether it's outrageous, whether or not we should storm the Bastille, it remains to be seen, guys. Leviathan is the dominant fleet by a huge margin. Last video, I should say, of this, I said, hey, you can just use profundity. That's all you really need. But I advised people working on Leviathan that has absolutely changed now. If you can get Leviathan, I would do it. If you can't get Leviathan, then I would, because the crystals from Arena are so important. I don't care about the impact on GAC as much here, really. What I really care about is, can you consistently get number 1 in Fleet Arena? You need a reliable counter. And so, first off, I guess I'll say Leviathan with the mirror match is miserable as hell, and whoever has the fastest Sith Assassin, the Relic 9 with 6 emods, is going to go first and is going to win because of the turn meter coin flip. You can win the mirror other ways sometimes, but man, it is miserable and not fun, and Relic 9 arms race is so miserable for Sith Assassin. The good news is, Chimera is pretty consistent. Maybe against Relic 9, it's a little bit rough, but I think for the most part, Chimera can beat it. Executor also has a decent win rate. Profundity also can win. I haven't explored that as much, but those 3 are probably your best bets. Chimera, the problem with Chimera, of course, is that it requires the Scythe, and the Leviathan requires the Fury Interceptor and Malgus, all stuff that's inaccessible to earlier game players. And so a lot of times your best bet is going to be to get your Executor or maybe Profundity, depending on what the win rate is. But I mean, those two, the most recent fleets, still beat this fleet, I will say, you need more relics on your Executor fleet. If you want to beat the Leviathan pretty consistently, you're going to want a lot of relics, and that sucks, I realize. However, lot better option than just not being able to make top 10, top 1, whatever spot in your fleet arena. You need to get those fleet arena crystals. That is so crazy important, guys, especially if you're free to play. But even if not, I mean, I don't want to spend the money to get those crystals elsewhere. That's unnecessary expenditure. So yeah, work on one of those, guys. I do have a guide, by the way. I'll link them in the video description. Here's how you beat Chimera, or here's how you beat Leviathan with Chimera, and here's how you beat Leviathan with Executor. And so go check those out, guys. You can learn about what fleet comps they are. You need more relics on your fleets, of course, because fleets are fun like that. All right, Conquest. Conquest in terms of how do we keep up with it? How do we stay on top of it? You just need Galactic Legends and you win. Otherwise, you can watch. I'll be making a Conquest guide here kind of soon. I think probably this coming weekend. I'll be doing it for my 5 million account, 5 million GP account that has no Galactic Legends. I'll show you how to get, I think probably just get the 5th crate again, 5th out of 7, so that you can unlock over the course of 5 to 6 months, as opposed to unlocking in 3 like people who can red crate. But if you're lower GP, it's still pretty nice to be able to get even just the, if you can unlock those characters early, then you don't have to do proving grounds, which is nice. Now, one shift that we're going to have to look at, guys, is this has been data mined. In Galactic Challenges, you have modifiers for your own team. In Conquest, that's not how it works. The teams that you're fighting have modifiers, but you don't. This has just been data mined that players will now potentially have this modifier. I don't know what's going to happen. Stay tuned. This is new. Maybe it's not going to mean anything. Maybe it's just them goofing around. They're just a bunch of goofballs. CG is just, they're so silly. Let's just move on. So Rise of the Empire versus the raid. Which one should you work on more? And the idea here, guys, is, of course, at some point the raid will switch, and at that point, if you just have the same teams as you had before when you were working on the crate raid, then you're going to get garbage rewards. You're not going to get good ones. And as opposed to Rise of the Empire, it's going to be here projected for several years. And so if you're not actively working on characters for Rise of the Empire, that's probably fine, because you can be in a holding pattern, you can still get the same star level. Nothing's going to shift. The raid one is going to shift, and it's going to shift abruptly. And if you don't adapt to it and work on those raid characters, you're going to get a way worse score. Honestly, the rewards, it's not going to help you at all. And so for the raid, what do we know about it? They still haven't given us that much information. We still don't even know if Scout, the new character that isn't even farmable yet, we don't even know what Scout's Omicron is. It's apparently going to be part of the raid, but we're not sure. So, but the speculation right now, given the time frames that they have said, that they've stated, it's looking like it'll be released right around the game's anniversary, which is November 25th. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it'll be released exactly that date, and it doesn't mean that they have to adhere to this. That's just speculation. That's the best we can do. But a lot of people have said, it looks like, based on what they've said, late October or late November. It could be earlier than that. It could be, honestly, it could be tomorrow. Probably, almost certainly not, but it could be. We just don't know for sure, and that's our bet. That's the best guess that people have, because CG also puts a lot of stock into that date. They could. It makes a lot of sense to me, at least. So we still have about 2-ish months to prepare for it. What things are safe to farm? As in, if you farm this character, put relics on them, and then find out they're horrible in the raid or unusable, that you can't do anything with them, then what characters are you going to say, well, I don't mind that I failed on the raid with them. They're not going to work in the raid, but I'm excited to have this character relic because they're useful in other game modes, and we don't know that much. We know the list of characters that are going to apply, so the Imperial Remnant faction looks like it's going to be at least decent, and we're going to have, that's where Scout Trooper is, and that's going to be the raid Omicron, and you have to think that's going to be a pretty central team to being able to conquer the raid. So working on Imperial Remnants, not Dark Trooper. They've said Dark Trooper is going with other teams, with the Troopers team, the Veers team, and Dark Trooper isn't even part of the Endor group. Anyways, you can't use Dark Trooper in the raid. So, I mean, you can work on Dark. He's a great character, but he's not he's not going to help you with the raid. Leia requirements, if you're working on Galactic Legend Leia, all of her requirements, really strong, or at least most of them are pretty strong. You can look at the list on their forums, of course, if you want to, but you know, a lot of the Leia requirements, like Drogon, Leia herself is going to be good. Probably R2-D2. We'll end up with a good team. Who knows, man? And then Ewoks may end up being good. I will just caution you, though, because even though Ewoks seem like they might be good, remember, they're not going to translate the abilities of these different characters into what the speeder bikes do. It's just going to be, hey, this person gives this and this piece, and this person gives this ability and this ability, and it's going to be like this weird puzzle and mix and match. And so Ewoks, even though it seems like they might be really good at this raid, and they should be, just remember, Jawas were part of the Tusken or the Crate Dragon raid, and Jawas were awful. They were atrocious. They got new art. Everyone else got good scores. Jawas got good art, and that's what they got. They got consistent 300,000. Woo! Huge deal. Worth relicking them to 7, right? Ridiculous. And Ewoks, maybe that'll be the case. Maybe they'll be awful. Maybe they'll be great. I think you can wait, though, because they're not vital anywhere else in the game, really. Yes, they're fine. They look kind of promising now that they changed the animation speed on Nisa. She does, in fact, look to be significantly stronger, that team, because you're not timing yourself out with her little twirly trick. But at the same time, are Ewoks necessary? No. Is it necessary that I drink my own urine? I hope you guys know what that quote is. If you don't, look it up, maybe. That might not be a safe thing to search, I'm not sure. Now, for Rise of the Empire, what should you work on? I put a video out, it's over a month at this point, but just remember, you can solve your Kyrotech issues on Zepho and trying to farm Jedi Cal and everything. You're gonna get a ton of Kyrotech if you're working on the Jedi Cal stuff. Jedi Cal mission to unlock Zepho, way easier than Junior Cal, Baby Cal, whatever with Seer. I know that people say that it's solved, and I kind of just disagree, frankly. Like, you need a pretty extreme situation for your guild to unlock it using Baby Cal. Jedi Cal, pretty dang consistent, and you don't need one of the Omicrons. So you're gonna get lots of GT 2 and 3, and it's going to be amazing. Just keep working on it, guys. That Cal team is really going to pay off in both PvP and PvE. Now, which Galactic Legend is more important? We're probably going to do a better analysis than this later, but a lot of people are wondering, hey, should I just drop everything and get Leia? Should I just keep working on Jabba? Which one should I work on? I mean, like, Leviathan probably is the more important out of all of them, but once you get Leviathan, and if it's just between Leia and Jabba, keep in mind, okay, so Jabba's losing his raid. He's not relevant there. However, he's still good for all of these things. You guys can read about it. He's really good. And he happens to share a lot of requirements with Leia. So working on him is, in a lot of ways, working on Leia requirements as well. So it's not even that bad if you're working on Jabba. Now, Leia is really powerful. You hit auto, she kills all the GLs. She is amazing. She is transcendent, crazy strong, and so she lays waste to all she sees. she's gonna let you unlock Ender Escalation, but right now, or like Escalation 3, the rewards don't look great, and I think the biggest damning thing about Ender Escalation right now is it's only once per month. Smuggler's Run 2, that Jabba runs, is transformative to an account because it happens 3 times per month. It averages about 10 every 10 days or so that it's out, and it gives you really great rewards. Ender Escalation, it would have to give some pretty amazing rewards to get us excited and drop Jabba for Leia just because of that one event. And then there's not any other events really that she's required for. She's not required in Rise of the Empire anywhere yet, at least. She's not required in Conquest yet. She has a Datacron, but those come and go. I'm not gonna give advice based on Datacrons, and so right now you don't need her as much as Jabba. Yes, she'll kill stuff, but so will Jabba. He's way more important to the game right now. Stay tuned though; they'll probably bring a few more elements into play moving forward. Inquisition. We don't really need to pay much time on this. They're not really required for anything, but man, they are good on every single mode. And the other thing to keep in mind, guys, if you're working on Inquisition, you're gonna get into a better guild, most likely. People want those Rise of the Empire shard, or the Riva shards. If you're Riva ready, you're gonna get into a better guild, most likely. So Inquisitors have a good incentive on that front, and then they are just like God mode in Conquest, for instance. So really, really good stuff. Phoenix, I'm more and more, I'm like, okay, you don't need Cairo for them, so you could kind of just work on them on the side while you're still trying to get a bunch of other gear for other characters. Like if you're the Cairo Tech bottleneck or the Gear 12 bottleneck or whatever, you can work on Phoenix. They're pilots, they're so super good, guys, with Rex, even without a Datacron. Man, they are super good. And remember, there's a new model for Zeb, and it looks gross, but he does look, I mean, he hasn't changed, but you have to think they're giving more attention to Zeb. Land of Misfit Farm, I haven't added anything to this list. Just remember, guys, Tuskens, after the raid is over, they're not required for anything. Yeah, they'll kill a lot of stuff, but they don't have a tank, so in 5v5, you just get your leader shot in the head by Leia, or by Padme, I mean. Zori, pretty good if you already have Rey. Maybe you can make a detour for Zori. However, I wouldn't work on a full Zori squad if you don't have Rey or all of the requirement characters, because it's a lot of relics for a team that's not required for anything. Yes, she's great. She is wonderful. She's transcendent. She kills things, and she's unnecessary to almost any part of the game right now, except for maybe your enjoyment of it. And then Aphra and her requirements, unfortunately, guys, I love that squad. You can kill a bunch of Galactic Legends with it. It is very strong, just like Zori. It's even stronger than Zori, in my opinion. But right now, unnecessary. Don't need it, really. Now, speculation. This is a new thing. So Dark Trooper Gideon, Moff Gideon, is out. Well, his kid is out, and he has a bunch of stuff about dark side Mandalorians. If he's not the leader, then he boosts this team in different ways. You can see even his special, if he's in the leader slot, he does things for Imperial Remnant. If not, then the special does other things for dark side Mandalorians. And all of these things are singling out dark side Mandalorians, dark side Mandalorian leader. So not the armor, not Bo-Katan, not Beskar Mando. It has to basically be either Gar Saxon or Moff Gideon. Oh, well, Maul, I should say, because Moff Gideon, the new one, the Dark Trooper Gideon, isn't part of that. So, the Imperial Super Commando rework is crazy strong. Expect it. Don't prioritize Imperial Super Commando yet. I mean, you can. Just remember, it's going to probably get nerfed real hard, real quick. It looks really strong, but so at the end of the day, though, it looks like they're pushing us into using dark side Mandos, which then puts us into a situation where we're going to be working on what do we do with all the light side Mandos? These are the only 5 light side Mandos left, and the bounty hunter one is not going to be part of that faction. He has no synergy with them. He's a bounty hunter, and so that sets us up for a situation where we don't know who the next big farm is going to be. Like, the Afra came out around Christmas, Starkiller the year before came around right around Christmas. They've already data mined that there's going to be at least 2 new marquees pretty soon. And my guess is that's going to be part of the farm for whatever journey guide character is going to be released in December. And why couldn't we have something from Mandalorian Season 3? I don't want to give spoilers or anything, but there are a few good candidates for it, and I honestly wouldn't care if they just made something up either. It'd be nice to get a little boost for Mandalorians, especially because I would like it for Darkseid too, because the Darkseid Maul already goes with Malicos super nicely and with Lord Vader. It's like, why are you suddenly focusing on Darkseid Mando leader? Like, it's a lifter unit that is supposed to be with Lord Vader in theory, or with Malicos. It's really like, what? I think they're gonna boost both of the factions, so stay tuned for that. Final recap, guys. Working on Leviathan. At the end of the day, the Transcendent amazing ship is transcendent and amazing. Then work on Jabba. He's more vital. If not Jabba, then work on Leia. I mean, if you're close to another GL, then do that. I don't care. But in terms of staying relevant, those are the 2 relevant ones. Jabba, still crazy relevant. Very strong, even without the raid. Leia, if you already have Jabba. Because, I mean, the accelerated characters as well is going to take its toll on you, as opposed to Jabba has everything accelerated at this point. Then, I would work on your new raid characters. New raid characters, you don't know what they are? Work on things that I said are safe, the ones that are generally going to be good. Jedi Cal requirements shares that because it's going to give you a huge boost in Rise of the Empire and in a lot of other game modes. Really strong squad. Not to mention, it's going to boost your Night Sister squad. You're going to have some Wookiees that you never use. And Saw Gerrera you can kind of look down on because he's only gear 12 and unusable. Other worthwhile farms: Imperial Remnant, all Mandalorians, Inquisition, as per usual, and then follow your heart, guys. It's a great time. So let me know, what farms do you think are important? Guys, thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Zareth prevails.